Hi, it's July 18th, and nobody told me there'd be days like these. This is what's going through my head, the John Lennon song. It was a strange day. I was working on my website most of the day till about 4:30 or so, and my wife asked me to run some errands, including getting her gas. So I was going to go to Planet Fitness first and work out, and then go and get groceries and get her gas. But I saw she only had 2 bars in the, for gas. And I'm neurotic where I always want to have at least a half a tank of gas whenever I'm in the car, mine or hers. So I decided to go there first. And the strange thing was I go there and it said insert credit card. So I inserted the credit card and all of a sudden it locked it. And then it said remove credit card and it didn't remove it. So I was like, oh, this is strange. Almost 3 or 4 minutes go by and I'm going to go talk to the attendant because it won't return my card because it kept flashing, please remove card, when I couldn't. So all of a sudden it popped out the card and the transaction went through. I could fill the car with gas. I was like, this is really weird, but it worked. So I went over to Market Basket, the grocery store right around the corner from BJ's. And that's when things got really weird. I went in there and I was shopping. I was probably about halfway through my shop and I got to the pizza aisle. And I like Amy's organic pizzas, are my favorite. And a lot of times they don't have very many of them. So I was looking through, probably took me about 2 to 3 minutes. And I was looking through and I finally found one. I turned around and my cart was gone. So I went like two aisles to the right, 2 aisles to the left. I didn't see any abandoned carts. I'm like, this is really weird. And I thought, well, if someone took my cart, they would say, oh, that's not my stuff. And they would leave it or they'd return it to the service desk or something. But nope, that didn't happen, which was, I thought, really weird. I was going to go up to the service desk, but I said, I don't want to spend a half an hour or more talking to them and trying to figure out what went wrong. So I just grabbed another card and, continued doing my shopping. And that's when things got really weird. I was in the fruit section. This gentleman walks over to cherries. He takes and eats about 2 or 3 cherries out of the bag and puts the bag back on the shelf. And then another woman comes by and she goes, I think I want cherries. She eats 2 of them. She goes, nah, I don't really care for them. Closes the bag and puts it back on the shelf also. And then the next aisle over, there was fresh green beans. So this kid's over there, probably about 12 years old, and he's throwing them up in the air with his hands and picking up more and throwing up in the air. It was quite unusual, very unusual. So that was the end of the weirdness there. I got through there and, I was heading to Planet Fitness. But the thing is, it's kind of lousy. There's a Planet Fitness directly next to this Market Basket, but Planet Fitness doesn't allow you, unless you have a certain type of membership, to go to any Planet Fitness anywhere. Because it would be great for me. I could go to the Planet Fitness, then shop, or shop, then go to Planet Fitness, and be very convenient. But I don't have this type of membership, so I can't do that, which is kind of strange because when I was growing up, for just about any kind of company, if you had a membership, it applied anywhere, but I guess times have changed. But then I did get back to the Planet Fitness that I go to, and I was exhausted, and I thought it was going to be a horrible workout, but it turned out to be a fantastic workout. When I went in, I was exhausted, but then when I started lifting, I felt full of energy and great. And when I got done, it was like adrenaline was just oozing through my body, and even now I feel great. So it really worked out quite well. I was lucky, too. They have a deal where they let the teenagers work out for nothing during the summer. And I got there just at 5, and luckily, because it was such a nice day, I think a lot of them were out doing stuff, and there weren't very many people there, so I could get in and out without much of a problem. At 6 o'clock when I was leaving, that's when I noticed they were starting to come in, so I timed it right, and I just got to make sure during the summer I don't get there too late, because sometimes it fills up with the kids. It seems like maybe for some reason they come a little bit later. Maybe during the day they're doing stuff, and then later at night they want to work out. So that worked out good. Aside from that, I'm still dealing with, after getting the shot in my eye for the blood leaking behind it, I've had no issues, no blurry vision or anything like that, no pain. So I'm trying to see about looking into meditation to see if I can reduce my blood pressure and also maybe ruck some more and see if that, can hopefully alleviate the issue so I don't have to keep getting the shots. But we'll see on that, hopefully. If worse comes to worse, I'll have to get the shots for a while, and it doesn't seem too bad. So I'm not really worried about it at the time. Aside from that, like I said earlier, I was working on a post which I'll put up tonight, which is about healthy eating for families. Check that out if you can. And the previous one was up there a couple of days ago, was regarding health issues from using ACs, running them all the time during the summer. So if you get a chance, check out both of those. Also, check out my products in my Shopify store, my Printify store, Amazon, Digistore 24, and ClickBank. Over 50 products, some really good stuff. And, I think there's a lot of interesting and useful and practical things. Aside from that, I will probably post mid to early next week again. So until then, stay healthy, stay happy.